that either if you follow me, then what I'm about to talk about today is going to be extremely relevant to you and you need to hear this, or you're going to know someone who definitely needs to hear this and you need to share it with them. So welcome to today's spontaneous live. I am actually going to go live every single day this week. So we've got a little Mindful Monday session for you today. For the rest of the week, I'm going to do some little mini live sessions where you guys get to ask me questions. I'm going to share an introduction to some stuff with you that I really hope that you enjoy. I hope that it helps you to connect with yourself on new levels, helps you to explore a little bit deeper things about you that you didn't even maybe think about before. Hello, thank you for joining. As you guys join here, you can also wave at me by hitting the button. You can send me some hearts, you can drop a comment, and as I said, you can ask me questions as we go through this. So, any guesses what I'm talking about today? What do you guys think? So today, I'm going to talk about something that I recently ran a research poll because I was trying to get some research together in relation to my upcoming program, Burnout to Breakthrough. And I ran this research poll and asked you guys how you feel about boundaries. And 90% of you lot told me that you'd never thought about it. You've never stopped to consider boundaries, how they might apply to you, what kind of boundaries that you might need. And the other 10% said, yeah, I've set some boundaries before, but I'm really bad at enforcing them. So on that basis, I knew that you guys needed a bit of steering here. You needed a little bit of help, and so I am here for you. Now, if you saw on my stories earlier, I created a free beginner's boundary guide, which you can hit the link in my bio and download it right now. And it is an amazing tool to tell you a little bit more about boundaries, why you might need them, what areas of your life you might want to apply them to, how to set it, how to set the boundary, how to enforce it, and what kind of consequences you might want to put in place if the boundary is not followed. So, sound exciting? Sound useful? Sound like something you might need? Okay, good, because I've got some real gems for you today. So with boundaries, a common misconception is often people think that boundaries are for other people. People think that boundaries are all about putting up this massive wall around you and being like, no one gets to come in unless you meet this specific set of criteria. No, boundaries are not about trying to regulate other people's behaviors. Boundaries are for you. They're for you. They're for you to regulate how you show up in this world, what is or isn't acceptable to you. And if you have been sat here and you're thinking, I would not even know where to start, where to put a boundary, how to set one, then a good place to think about is, where are you feeling triggered? Because if there are places in your life where you're feeling triggered, there's a good chance that maybe a boundary could be useful there. And this is the thing, there is no one size fits all when it comes to boundaries, because we're all very different, we're all very unique, and we all have different needs. We all have a different barrier based on what is or isn't acceptable to us. And we all have a different level of perception of the world. Everyone shows up to the table with some level of trauma, some level of experience that means that something that might really trigger me might be absolutely nothing to someone else. We might be viewing the exact same situation but have a completely different perception around it. And that is why you can't really say, these are the 10 boundaries that you need to live a fulfilled life. There is no guide like that. But the guide that I have prepared for you guys is a really great way for you to start thinking about where you might want to apply this stuff, how you apply it, and how to do that in a way that is authentic to you. Because a lot of people have been kind of raised to be self-abandoning, codependent, no needs, no boundaries. And this is why a lot of you get to this point in your life and you're like, I've never thought about it. So it can feel a little bit strange at first when you're starting to bring in boundaries to your life and to your relationships. And sometimes it can kind of feel a bit mean. It feels like that boundary is a big F you to whoever you're interacting with. But actually, boundaries are a way for you to allow yourself to show up authentically, to allow yourself to ensure that your needs are being met, And it kind of sets the distance at which you can love yourself, respect your own needs, and love and respect somebody else. So actually, when you start to set boundaries and communicate those boundaries with other people, that is a way of you saying, hey, I really value our relationship. I really want to keep our relationship. And in order to do that, I would like to show up a little bit differently to enable us both to have our needs met. So it really, really does come from a place of love. And if you hear the word boundaries and you're thinking of, all of these things of being a little bit mean, then I implore you to challenge your perception on that. Download the ebook. It is free. The link is in my bio, and it can guide you to living a more authentic life through boundary setting and enforcing. So first of all, I wanted to tell you guys, boundaries are different to deal breakers. Basically, we kind of have different levels of this stuff. So you might have something that's a preference, i.e., I like to be treated like this, but if somebody doesn't treat me that way, then it's not a deal breaker. For example, I don't like phone calls, but I like WhatsApp messages. That could be something that is a preference. But if someone phones you, you might be like, okay, fine, I'll pick up the phone. It's not really a big deal, but I prefer if you WhatsApp. Something that's quite small like that. But for some people, a phone call might be super triggering. And so they might set that as a boundary of, please don't phone me. Please WhatsApp me instead, or please whatever. Some people do feel that way, and if that need isn't communicated, then the other person who's interacting with them might be kind of constantly triggering them by making that phone call, and they don't know that that's a trigger. They don't know that that person prefers to be communicated in other ways. They don't know the impact that that has. So boundary setting, like I say, is a way for you to show up authentically and for you to communicate your needs so that they can be met, because that could be something that's a really, really easy fix. Now, often when we're setting boundaries, we're dealing with situations that are maybe a little bit more emotionally charged than something like that, or a little bit more emotionally complicated. But the example will give you an idea of how this kind of works. So like I said, we have our preferences, we have our boundaries, i.e., if you do this thing, then there'll be a consequence. So if you phone me, I'm not going to answer. There's an easy consequence. There's an easy result. Rather than, if you phone me, I'm going to abandon all of my needs. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to feel really triggered. I'm going to kind of set myself on fire to keep you warm because that's your need and you wanted to phone me, even though I don't want that. So we have our boundary where we can set that, we can communicate that, and it might need to be communicated a couple of times. Because let's be honest, if you have been showing up your whole life so far, allowing everyone to behave with you and interact with you in any way that you want to, at first people are going to be like, well, I've done this for the last 30 years. It doesn't matter if I decide to call her now, or it doesn't matter, whatever the boundary is, because she's let me do it before, I'm going to do it again, and I don't want to change my behavior. But here's the thing, it does not matter if other people aren't respecting your boundaries. What matters is you respecting your boundaries. And so that there is a consequence. So if that person does phone you, you get to enforce the consequence. Okay, I make a choice now. I don't have to pick up the phone. And I've told them that I don't want to have a phone call. Now, a level up from that, a level up from your boundary is a deal breaker. So a deal breaker is different to a boundary because with a boundary, there is consequence, but there's a way to maintain and nurture a relationship. With a deal breaker, it's like, if you do this thing, we don't have a relationship anymore. So it's more of a serious level. And I think a lot of people, when they first look at boundaries and starting to set them and integrate them, they think a boundary is a deal breaker, and they're not. They're two different things. You can have a level of your boundary, and you can also have as much scope for flexibility around that as you need to and as you want to. How important is this to you? And you might take a different approach with different people as well. So for example, if you have somebody in your life who's kind of low priority, someone that doesn't really make that much of a difference to you, and you feel comfortable setting your boundaries there as a way to start and practice and integrate this work, that's a great way to start. Rather than kind of setting a really hard, firm boundary with somebody who maybe has been in your life for your whole life. Maybe that's a little bit harder, or where the priority is high. There's somebody really high, really close to you, and you care very deeply about relationship, it can be much harder to set boundaries there. But not impossible. And when you learn how to do this stuff and you learn how to integrate it effectively, then it can really, really change a lot of stuff. Okay, so why am I talking about boundaries today? I'm talking about boundaries because if you are somebody who is regularly burning yourself out, there is a good chance that you are lacking boundaries in some area of your life or some areas. And I know that from you guys who filled out the form, a lot of you are not even thinking about boundaries. So yeah, there are definitely some that could be put in place there. Now, boundaries isn't just about regulating your relationships. It is about the emotional weight that you are taking on and that you are giving in relationships. And if you have no boundaries and you are pouring out and pouring out and pouring out energy, and you're taking on all of the kind of low vibration shit from everyone else, maybe you are the person that all of your friends come to for kind of offloading their baggage. They've had a bad day, they want to dump it on you and then go off and carry on. But you might be the kind of person where you take that on and that sits heavy, and actually you end up walking through your day with no boundaries, pouring out your energy, taking on a load of crap, and you feel drained, overwhelmed, stressed. There is definitely some emotional baggage that could be lifted so that you don't necessarily have to feel so stressed, so overwhelmed. This could be some really low-hanging fruit for you guys to really step up, to really protect your energy a bit better, and to be able to show up with a bit more passion again. So yes, as I mentioned, there is a free beginner's boundary ebook. It's available. If you click the link in my bio, you can download it straight away and it lands in your inbox. And as you might know, I've got an upcoming course that starts on the 16th of July. It is 12 weeks to take you from burnout to breakthrough. Boundaries is something that we are going to cover in this. And within the course, it's focused around education, healing, and integration. So we're going to be working out the root cause of your burnout. We're going to be going back and doing some inner child work and starting to integrate this stuff in a way that feels authentic, in a way that feels right for you and your situations. So 12 weeks, there's only 12 spaces. One of them has already been taken, and 2 other people have told me today that they are definitely signing up. So there is only going to be a couple spaces. We have early bird, which finishes on the 30th of June. So you can only sign up this week if you want to get your early bird pricing secured in. And again, the link for this program is in my bio, so you can find out all about it. And on the Sundays, there's going to be 2 calls a week. So one of them is on Sunday. That's our coaching call. That is focused a lot around the education part of things. And then on a Wednesday is where we're going to do a lot of the integration part of the work. So Wednesdays, we're going to start applying this stuff in real time to your real life situations. So these 12 women are going to be bringing to the table some real time examples of, for example, where they're going to be putting boundaries in place, how that works, where their boundaries have been infringed, what do they do, all of this stuff, so that we can apply this knowledge to the very situations that are impacting your life as we go through. I am so excited about this course, and I know there's going to be friends for life made on this program, as well as it is just going to change your life so much. Doing this work has changed my life phenomenally. And if you don't know much about my story, I used to work as a lawyer. I used to burn out all the time. I was completely stressed out. And I was not enjoying my job at all. Every day felt like struggling and suffering my way to be somehow proving my worth, to hopefully one day get to this earned reward. And it was miserable. Couple that with the fact that I was also in an abusive relationship and getting absolutely knocked down every day, it emotionally drained the hell out of me and left me with CPTSD. It left me really broken and really depleted. And a lot of the healing work that I've done in relation to rebuilding after my relationship ended, is the same healing work that I needed to do to help me to overcome the burnout cycle. And now I've cracked the code for good. And I want to share this with the world, because how amazing can it be to show up, to want to be a high achiever, to be able to go into your work and feel passionate about it, to be able to feel excited about what you're doing, to have some purpose, and to be a high achiever without a hustle. To know that you don't have to take on all of the stuff that's coming your way, that you can have boundaries for a good start. But that's not the only part we're looking at. This is a whole 12-week course, and we have a lot to cover in this course. But you have access to these lessons for life. So even if you join me for the 12-week program, go on holiday for a week or 2 weeks, you can still come back and do the other sessions on replay, anything that you missed. And let's say that you absolutely love my sessions on boundaries, you can rewatch them as many times as you need to. And as you go through the integration progress and you're ready to apply this stuff deeper and deeper, again, you can rewatch it and implement this stuff at a level that is comfortable for you. So if anyone has any questions on the Burnout to Breakthrough program, if you want to ask me anything about it, if you want to find out about it, drop me a DM. If you're not sure if this is going to be for you, you can put in an application or book in a free discovery call where we can talk about how we can work together to get you out of the burnout cycle. So whether it's this for you, or you know someone who is regularly burning out and taking on so much stress, and they deserve to live a happy, free life where they can show it with joy, where they don't have to quit their job and move to a beach in Bali, they can actually have purpose and excitement in the day-to-day of what they're doing, then drop them a link to this course, because it is going to change lives. And I'm so excited. So again, this week is the last week to get your early bird discount. So if you're interested in joining, please do sign up. And I will leave you there. I'm going to be going live again tomorrow to share some more wisdom nuggets with you guys. So I will see you then. Bye.